GTA 6 has become this massive dark cloud hanging over the entire gaming industry. The wait for GTA 6 turned into a straight-up nightmare for developers all around the world. GTA 6 isn't even a 4A game anymore, it's 5A, maybe even 6A. Like seriously, how are we supposed to compete with that? GTA 6 is a meteor, and the only smart move is to stay the hell away from the explosion. We're doomed. The industry is dead. You know, every single time a truly gigantic project comes out, a game that feels like a phenomenon, developers immediately start screaming about how unfair it all Island Baldur's Gate 3 set unrealistic standards for RPGs. Silksong is too cheap. Indie developers might get hurt. Gamers might form unrealistic expectations. It's always the same endless flood of whining. And today, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Why this so-called panic from publishers and devs is nothing more than a cover-up for their own incompetence. Why these 4A or 5A labels are pure marketing scams. And why these massive, game-changing releases are actually a blessing for us, the players. Because here's the truth. The moment a truly important game shows up on the horizon, a whole swarm of crying developers and publishers gather around it. And if you add up all their complaints, it basically sounds like this. But what about me? Why isn't anyone paying attention to me? Those guys just have too much money, it's not fair. Why isn't my game the one people care about? You see Ubisoft throwing shade at Rockstar, Obsidian throwing shade at Larian, and I'll never forget how Obsidian literally got salty at Larian because, thanks to Divinity, Original Sin, they had to add full voice acting to their own RPG since players started demanding it. Like, why can Larian do it but we can't? And Obsidian's response was basically, Larian, you jerks. That's fear, plain and simple. They invent hundreds of excuses for why their games flop, and when it's time for marketing, they invent hundreds more reasons why their game is the most groundbreaking one ever. And one of the funniest pieces of pure cope in recent years has been this whole 4A and 5A games nonsense. Let me tell you a secret. That term means absolutely nothing. 4A and 5A games literally do not exist and never will. It's all just a marketing trick. There's even a Wikipedia article where journalists admit publishers love to throw this term around, but it has no definition. Nobody can explain what the hell a 4A game actually island. Seriously, what does that even mean? Give me a definition. So when people start saying GTA 6 is a 5A game, setting impossible standards for the industry, that's just pure unfiltered bullshit. GTA 6 is a AAA game, plain and simple, a high-budget modern blockbuster. That's all AAA means. 4A is nothing but a shiny sticker slapped on the box to make gullible gamers think it's something bigger. And now, after so many so-called legendary 4A games, the only thing that label makes us think of is pain. You don't even call it 4A anymore, you just look at the game and say, but here's the thing, so many publishers are absolutely convinced they're making 4A games, and that's exactly how they get stuck in a swamp they can't climb out of. Instead of competing with GTA on actual quality, they start competing on who's got more content, who's got the bigger map, who's got longer cutscenes, and what does that lead to? Burned out dev teams, endless delays, insane budgets of $200 to $500 million that almost never pay off. These guys just don't get it. A giant budget does not guarantee quality. In fact, the opposite, it creates fear of taking risks. So everything turns into a copy of everything else. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, which is why you hear them crying, GTA 6 has too big of a budget. That means it's a 5A game. That means it's automatically better than everything else. From now on, nobody will ever play anything but GTA. The industry is doomed. And oh no, I won't be able to pay my mortgage. Yeah, smells like straight up dog crap. And this copium is exhausting because over the years, we've already had mega hits like GTA 5, RDR2, Skyrim, The Witcher 3, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, and guess what? None of them monopolized the industry. Gamers kept playing all kinds of stuff. So the real question is, why do they keep saying you can't compete with GTA? Why is it that no indie can compete with Silksong? What's the actual secret here? And this, my friends, is where we get to the good part. publishers keep telling us that games like these are bad for the industry because supposedly they build unrealistic expectations for players. But here's what's really going on. GTA isn't just a game, it's a phenomenon, and that's why you can't copy it. Yeah, there are tons of GTA clones out there, and honestly, a lot of them are actually really solid games. Some of them are so good, you'd feel guilty even calling them clones. Sleeping Dogs? Absolute masterpiece. Watch Dogs 2? The level of world interaction there is something GTA has never even touched, and honestly, I'm not sure GTA 6 will reach that level either. But even with all that, those games still couldn't do what GTA does every single time. Turn a release into a full-blown cultural event. You can copy mechanics, you can replicate open world design, you can build a driving system that feels amazing, but you can't manufacture a phenomenon. GTA is bigger than the games themselves. It's the hype machine, the social impact, the way it dominates conversations way outside of gaming forums, and it's not even about budget. Look at Silksong, it costs next to nothing compared to GTA. A tiny team made it, and yet, when it dropped on Steam, it absolutely blew the platform up. It crushed everything in its path during release. Proof that you don't need $500 million to make a phenomenon, you just need to capture lightning in a bottle. And here's the thing, it's not really about the budget at all, it's about the reputation of the studio. The original Hollow Knight is considered a masterpiece of the Metroidvania genre. Players already know that this studio will deliver quality, and most importantly, they'll deliver a specific fantasy. Exactly what players are looking for. Plus, they worked on that game for 6 years, and during all that waiting, fans basically turned it into a cult. That's how a phenomenon like this is born. You can't copy it, you can't measure it with numbers, and you definitely can't write some corporate report that you can reuse as a step-by-step guide to making the next phenomenon. That's the whole point. These games aren't just releases, they're cultural events. And that's also why GTA can have an absolutely insane budget. People see it as something from another planet. Competing with GTA is impossible because to do that, you'd need to create a game better than GTA 6 and create a phenomenon bigger than the entire GTA series itself. That's 99.9% impossible. But here's the beauty of it. We, as players, don't demand that every game should be GTA or Baldur's Gate 3. And that's the best part. Players buy AA titles, tons of indie projects, co-op shooters, survival games, story-driven RPGs, Souls-likes, you name it. We have tons of genres and subgenres. All these games coexist in the market and sell at the same time. Sure, none of them hit the insane success level of GTA, but I already explained why. Which is why I just laugh whenever some guy in a suit stands up and with a straight face says, "Our live service game will compete with GTA. Our project will rival Fortnite." Brother, take a breath, calm down, sit down for a second, and most importantly, never stop dreaming, but don't lose your mind. Instead of chasing GTA, these people throw hundreds of millions into games they'll never recover the cost from when they could have been #1 in their own genre or subgenre. Silksong, for example, is brutally hardcore as a Metroidvania. Tons of people jumped in, got wrecked, and now they're whining, "Please add an easy mode." But the devs won't. They won't simplify it or water it down, because the game doesn't try to be for everyone. It's the best in its genre. And if you don't like it, you just move on to something else. And honestly, I respect that. Even when there are amazing projects that aren't really my thing, I still respect them because they stick to their vision. They respect themselves, they respect you, and they respect your time by giving you a clear fantasy. Instead of some faceless open world mush that tries to be everything for everyone. It's like food. Some people love pork, others can't eat it at all, some avoid it for religious reasons. But mushy porridge? Anyone can eat it because it doesn't really taste like anything. That's what these generic open worlds have become, soulless porridge. Except my metaphor isn't even fair, because porridge at least has nutritional value unlike most live service games. That's why I actually love the last Mafia game in that sense. People whined, "Oh no, you can't swim in a game from 2025, that's unacceptable." But come on, it's a Mafia story, not a swimming simulator. The game didn't need that. It's actually refreshing when a game knows what it wants to be. Sure, you can criticize Old Country Mafia for some mechanics, but you'll never hear anyone say the entire game is flawed because it stays focused. Everything in it has a purpose, and that's awesome. And with GTA, most people only see the massive budget, but that's not what it's about. It's about the approach to development, the effort, the stories that the writers create, the mechanics that designers build, the way the whole team works together, the world the game designers bring to life. That's what matters. Copy that the principle, the passion they put into their games, not the stupid metrics like map size or number of NPCs. Because size doesn't matter, small games can still become huge hits. Players are not going to give up on smaller, simpler games. People don't always want a 200-hour epic, and that's been my entire point. Nobody's really stopping anyone. In this industry, there's room for everything. That's the big idea. Yes, competition exists, but it's about quality and craft, not some nonsense like the industry is eating itself alive. This release wiped out half the indie studios worldwide. That's just whining. Because gamers aren't one giant monolithic crowd, we're wildly fragmented. I've met so many different, even downright weird types of gamers. I knew one guy who only played PS2 era games, collecting rare discs, consoles, merch. Another guy played purely for achievements, never explored, never cared about the story, just followed guides 24/7. That's how diverse gaming really island. The fun for him was always in planning out how to get every single achievement without missing anything. And in the end, he'd finally grabbed that platinum trophy. His personal challenge was to rack up as many platinums as possible in a single month. That's what he enjoyed. He honestly didn't care about the games themselves at all. And that's why publishers need to stop crying about GTA and just focus on finding their audience. Cater to the people who actually want what you're making. Phenomenon games, on the other hand, unite a massive portion of players, and that's already a huge positive. But what else do they actually do for the industry? Well, there are 5 big things. First, these games push the entire industry forward. They expand it. Tons of new people come in. When they're announced or released, it's a real celebration. We all feel it every single time a new GTA 6 trailer drops. Everyone's talking about it on the internet, on TV, even in interviews. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion and one of the greatest phone drivers in history, literally said he'd cancel everything the moment GTA 6 comes out. That's the level of hype we're talking about. Second, Phenomenon games raise the bar. They show new approaches to game design, and after them, the whole industry feels fresher. Look at The Witcher 3. Its success permanently changed open-world RPGs. Miyazaki himself admitted Elden Ring was created under its influence. And don't even get me started on how much GTA and RDR2 shaped modern gaming. Or take Silksong. What's brilliant about it is how stripped down it island, no clutter, just pure mechanics that shine. It's like an antidote to modern shallow design with a million systems that don't even work together. Crafting, settlement building, grinding XP for settlement upgrades, Silksong rejects all that. Expedition 33 is another great example. Total focus on the core without unnecessary fluff, and I really hope that becomes the trend. Third, all the marketing BS dies off. Those fake 4A and 5A labels, players don't care anymore. What matters is trust and quality. If you deliver that, even if your game is made by 2 people in a garage, it will still find its audience. And that forces publishers to lie less, or at least improve their PR game. Fourth, these projects spark innovation, because copying GTA is pointless. You can't out GTA, you have to offer something unique. Just like the team behind Disco Elysium said, "We can't compete with Obsidian or Larian's budgets, so screw it, we're making an isometric RPG with no combat." That's innovation. Fifth, these games give hope. Baldur's Gate 3 is the most important game of the generation, not just because it's a masterpiece, but because of what it proved. It showed that games can be wildly successful without microtransactions, without a live service model. It gave everyone hope that the complete finished product at launch isn't dead. And now even big companies like Microsoft are thinking about greenlighting more of those. So no, Phenomenon games don't kill the industry. They don't set some impossible standard. They're more like vitamins for an industry that's been feeling sick. They shake things up, expose weaknesses in modern game dev, and give us that sense of real celebration. Everything else, the whining about, oh no, competition, is just fear. These guys are scared of competing with ideas and quality, not budgets. Basically, what they're really saying is, damn, now we'll have to actually make better games, raise our standards. What a nightmare! And that's hilarious. So when someone asks, how do you compete with GTA? The answer is you don't, it's impossible. The only thing you can do is keep making your own game in your own lane, do the best work you can, and stay true to your vision. That's the right response to a GTA 6 announcement not crying. Thanks for the like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.